Chapter 1. The Flash Marriage Wife. 9 p.m. One alluring night. After drinking a little too much at her bachelorette party, Tang Ning's fiancé picked her up and brought her home to their apartment. Finally coming to her senses, she forced open her eyes, holding back an excruciating headache. As her vision cleared, she could make out the figure of a man and a woman kissing passionately under the dimly lit room. Like being struck by lightning, Tang Ning looked at the two in shock as they continued to kiss by her bedside. The anger inside her began to boil. "Yuru, stop messing around. Tang Ning only just fell asleep," the man warned as he restrained the woman by her waist. "What? Are you afraid your fiancé will wake up?" Mo Yuru responded in an annoyed tone. "You are getting married tomorrow. Why don't you give yourself to me tonight?" "Babe, you are such a troublemaker. Let's go to the other room." The man smiled seductively. "No, I want to do it here. I want to do it right in front of her." Mo Yuru swiftly unbuttoned the man's shirt as their lips once again locked. Tang Ning tried to hold back her tears, but could feel them slowly trickling down her face. Who would have thought? The man she was to marry the next day would be cheating right in front of her. "Behave. Let's go to the bathroom. Isn't the bathtub your favorite place?" "Fine then. You go in and fill up the bathtub first." Mo Yuru nudged the man's chest towards the bathroom. As soon as the man left the room, she sauntered over to Tang Ning. Leaning over with a cold smile, she whispered, "Tang Ning, I'm not going to let you and Yufan sign those papers tomorrow. I'm pregnant. He's mine." Tang Ning tightened her hands into a fist as she held back her emotions, careful not to let out a sound. It was not until she heard the moaning sounds of the couple coming from the bathroom did she feel her world had fallen apart. 3 years ago, Tang Ning was once Beijing's top model, but because of this man, she gave up everything, handing over her hard-earned position to Mo Yuru. As it turned out, everything she did merely went towards preparing someone else's wedding dress. No, this must be a dream, just a horrible nightmare. Everything will be back to normal tomorrow. Tang Ning continued to lie to herself, until halfway through the night, Mo Yuru complained of feeling unwell as she led Han Yufan out of the hotel. With that, Han Yufan was to leave and not return, but they were to get married tomorrow. The next day, as planned, Tang Ning drove to the Civil Affairs office with a bitter smile. As she stepped out of her car, she gave Han Yufan a call. The voice on the other side coldly answered, "Mo Yuru was injured on stage. I have to deal with this urgent matter first. Let's postpone the registration to another day." "There is no another day," Tang Ning disappointedly told herself. Tang Ning turned around and put on her sunglasses, ready to leave, but at that moment, her eyes were drawn to a tall figure heading her way. She couldn't help notice the fitted dark blue retro suit, which complemented the masculine body underneath and out of the front chest pocket. The corner of a wine-red handkerchief could be seen peering out subtly. Glancing down, Tang Ning could see a pair of perfectly straight legs, leading to a pair of freshly polished brown leather shoes, which glistened in the sun. This man had such a strong presence, like that of a medieval king, especially as he got closer, although he was wearing sunglasses. His perfectly chiseled face and sexy lips were enough to drive any woman crazy. Tang Ning recognized this man. He was the CEO of Hai Rui Entertainment, Mo Ting. Back when she was still famous, they had met once at a ball. Is he also getting married today? "President, Miss Chi has not arrived on time. She is late by 10 minutes, the assistant behind him reported. "Ring the Chi family and tell them, if they can't even be on time to a wedding, then don't bother coming at all," the man responded coldly. "But the chairman said that you must get married today no matter what. Even if you were to marry a transvestite, he wouldn't care," the assistant replied timidly. "Then just randomly pick a lady from the socialite families." "I'll give you half an hour," the man ordered. He seemed a bit unreasonable. Oh, so he is faced with a similar dilemma, even though it is slightly different. Mo Ting had so much power, he could simply choose any woman he wanted. And as one of the most eligible bachelors, love was not his priority. His priority was to deal with the pressures from his elders to get married. Suddenly, an idea came to Tang Ning's mind. Taking off her sunglasses, she walked in front of the man and gently suggested, "President Mo, your bride hasn't arrived and my groom has run away. May I suggest we get married?" Mo Ting's assistant froze in disbelief. How is this woman so brave? Tang Ning stood straight in confidence. She had gathered all her courage to do this. Mo Ting removed his sunglasses, revealing a pair of dark ink-like eyes. His pupils glimmered like a diamond. After a short moment, he turned to his assistant and ordered, "Give me her details." Of course, Mo Ting's assistant already knew who Tang Ning was. He quickly grabbed his cell phone, did a quick search for Tang Ning's name, and offered the findings to his boss. 2 minutes later, the man's lips twitched ever so slightly as he responded with one word. "Okay." Tang Ning felt that meeting Mo Ting was the luckiest thing that could happen to her. He had no reason to use a woman, nor did he require love, and best of all, he had no shortage of women to sleep with. Ultimately, she wanted Han Yufan to regret his decision. The couple's wedding procedures were processed quickly. In just half an hour, Tang Ning held the marriage certificate in her hands. From now on, she was a married woman. "President Mo, may I have a few words with you?" "Get in the car." Mo Ting put his sunglasses back on as he walked out of the registration hall. Tang Ning followed closely behind. After getting into the Rolls-Royce, she nervously looked at Mo Ting before requesting, "Thank you for marrying me. If you need anything from me in return, please tell me. I will do anything. However, I have 2 simple requests I hope you can promise to abide by." "Speak," Mo Ting responded tiredly as he loosened his collar. "Firstly, unless you have no choice, do not reveal our relationship. Secondly, do not interfere in my personal matters. Do not worry. Since we are married, I will not get overly close to another man." After listening to Tang Ning's requests, Mo Ting gave a slight smirk. A dangerous aura swept through the car. "I promise you, but after I give you some time to tidy up your past, I want us to have a trial marriage. After 6 months, I will publicly announce our marriage." "Thank you," Tang Ning nodded. "Also, I don't believe a married couple should live separately. I'll give you 3 days to pack all your belongings and move to a place of my choice. My assistant will be in touch with you." Tang Ning had no objections. Since they were now married, a request like this was reasonable. So she obediently nodded her head as she replied, "I agree." Good. After the two made their verbal agreement, Tang Ning got out of Mo Ting's car and left. Mo Ting's assistant sat himself in the driver's seat and looked at Mo Ting through the rearview mirror. "President, shall we return to the office? Or would you like to return to the mansion to tell the chairman the news?" "Follow Tang Ning and report her every move to me," Mo Ting ordered, before stepping out of the car. Suddenly asking him to marry her, something must have happened. As the president of an international entertainment agency, of course, he had heard of Tang Ning before. Once a famous model in the industry, 3 years ago, she suddenly rejected an offer from the top entertainment agency, Star King, resulting in her being blacklisted. Eventually, she announced she would be signing with Tianyi Entertainment and became a hot topic with the boss, Han Yufan. Chapter 2. Striking back at the cheating couple, and thus began the fall of a supermodel. But from the looks of it, Tang Ning's story did not end there. In all honesty, Tang Ning had never realized she was so brave. She had actually married a stranger. But what was done. She would never regret her decision. Tang Ning returned to her car. Just as she was about to start the engine and head home, she received a phone call from Han Yufan. "Tang Ning, where are you right now?" "In front of the Civil Affairs office, about to go home," Tang Ning replied casually, hiding her emotions. "Yuru has a very important show. I need you to substitute her immediately. I'll tell the makeup artist to provide you with a mask. No one will be able to tell it is you, Han Yufan ordered with the tone of a superior. Since Yuru is injured, you will have to suffer a little. Didn't you say Miss Mo got hurt on stage? In that case, the media should already know she is at the hospital. But I have already asked someone to let it slip that she will still be attending even with her injuries. I told you to go, so go. He was so shameless. In the past, Tang Ning had already done stupid things like this for Mo Yuru. As it seems, she was being used. However, she wasn't going to continue this way. Tang Ning stayed calm and nodded. Okay, let me know the time and address. I'll head over there now. Tang Ning, we are about to get married. Help give Yuru a bit of a boost. Her career is currently on the rise. I'll give her a boost for sure. Tang Ning responded with a hidden meaning. I'll hang up then. Let's have dinner later. Han Yufan had no idea the tables had turned. Presumably now he would be sitting by Mo Yuru's bedside, watching over his lover tenderly. Tang Ning hung up the phone before giving her manager a call. Her manager immediately responded in anger. President Han wants you to step in for that B-grade model? Is he joking? If you didn't decide to retreat from the spotlight, she would not even survive in the industry. Long Jie, I've already agreed. Tang Ning replied calmly. Do you really have to go? Her manager was about to spew blood in disbelief. Tang Ning and Mo Yuru were both models signed under Tianyi Entertainment, but because of Tang Ning's decision to retreat, her manager was dragged down with her and ridiculed. Tang Ning knew her manager wanted to stick up for her in justice. Reassuringly, she responded, I won't be that stupid anymore. I will not let them use me. After hearing those words from Tang Ning, her manager's face lit up. So, are you saying you have a plan? Longjie, from now on I can only trust in you. Can you help me do something? Speak. Her manager was loyal to her. After all, they shared the same objective. Mo Yuru is so desperate to convince the media that she's attending the show, even with her injuries, because she doesn't want it to impact her eligibility for the top 10 model awards. Help me pay a visit to Tianhe Hospital. I see what you're getting at. Obtain evidence that she was still at the hospital during the show and reveal it to the public. The manager smiled excitedly. No, I have bigger news. She's pregnant, and the child is Han Yufan's. Also, help me prepare a statement stating that Han Yufan has used me multiple times to substitute Mo Yuru during her shows. As for which shows, I will need you to help me find evidence for that. The manager was surprised at first, but quickly understood why Tang Ning's attitude had changed. Such a shameless cheating couple. Not only did they cheat, but they also used Tang Ning, ordering her around like a puppet. Don't worry, Tang Ning. I will help you do all these things. Tang Ning did not respond. She felt unusually calm. She was going to treat them like they had treated her. After clearing her thoughts, Tang Ning quickly gathered her belongings and drove herself over to the venue for the show to meet up with Mo Yuru's assistant. He was a married man with a strong, bulky physique and a cunning personality. He was reasonably polite to Tang Ning. Even though she was no longer famous, the Tang family was still not one to be looked down upon. What took you so long? Quick, come and get your makeup done. What type of show is it today? Tang Ning asked as she was hurried down the hallway. Nothing special, the assistant replied. In fact, it was actually a jewelry show for the famous French brand HF. After this show, Mo Yuru would have the opportunity to sign on as HF's spokesperson. Originally, Mo Yuru would have lost her opportunity due to her injuries. But with Han Yufan's suggestion of using Tang Ning, Mo Yuru certainly had no objections. Actually, on her way to the show, Tang Ning had already done her research on today's show, the Crown Star Jewelry Show. Mo Yuru's assistant had intentionally lied to her. Had she always been this easy to trick? Thanks to Yuru's current status, you have your own makeup room. You will appear in the grand finale, and this is the piece of jewelry you will be presenting today. Here is the schedule, the assistant explained, as he pointed to the jewelry on the stage. He then ordered the makeup artist to start applying Tang Ning's makeup. Did Han Yufan really think that by giving her a mask, people would not be able to tell it's her? Although what she had in mind was quite extreme, she was going to give the cheating couple a surprise of a lifetime. Meanwhile, Mo Ting's assistant had been following Tang Ning's every move and overheard that she would be substituting Mo Yuru in the show. Immediately he reported everything to Mo Ting. As soon as Mo Ting found out, he ordered his assistant, "I am going to HF's jewelry show. Make arrangements immediately." "Yes, President." This wasn't a particularly special show, but he wanted to see Tang Ning in action. 11 a.m. Classical music resounded off the walls of the Hai Yi Center. The show had begun. Inside the makeup room, Tang Ning's makeup was complete, and she was now standing in front of the mirror in anticipation, wearing a white tight-fitting long dress, simple but classy, adorning a beautiful golden mask giving off a mysterious aura, hair tied back away from her face with a single white rose. She was absolutely stunning. The assistant was speechless. Inside, he was thinking, even if Tang Ning was to stand still, she would surely attract the attention of everyone around her. Mo Yuru will get the contract for certain. "You will descend onto the stage via a chair that will be lowered from above. This bracelet here is the crown star. Let me put it on for you." The assistant unclasped the bracelet and carefully put it on Tang Ning. However, Tang Ning was slimmer than Mo Yuru, resulting in the bracelet being too big. With a lift of her arm, the bracelet would slide around. This bracelet was designed by the founder of HF for his beloved daughter. In the middle of the golden bracelet was a crown encrusted with white diamond. On the two sides of the crown were two stars made from a pure and immaculate white gemstone, just like two parents protecting their precious child. "There's no way for you to wear it. What should I do? Do you trust me?" Tang Ning suddenly asked Mo Yuru's assistant. "At this moment, I can only trust you," the assistant nodded. Without a solution, he could only trust the model. This was Yuru's opportunity at being a spokesperson. If he messed it up, President Han would definitely fire him. "In that case, leave it with me," Tang Ning reassured. "Hurry, get ready. You will be going on stage soon." Amongst all the commotion, the assistant did not take notice of the look in Tang Ning's eyes. Chapter 3. Suspected of creating hype. Tang Ning smiled as she gave a nod before lifting up her dress slightly and running towards the back of the stage. With her mask on, if you were to point out one distinguishing feature between Tang Ning and Mo Yuru, it would have to be Tang Ning's legs. Tang Ning's legs were once known as one of the most beautiful legs in the world. Just as everyone thought the show had reached its climax, Tang Ning descended gracefully to the stage on a chair. All the spotlights immediately focused on her. But the crown star was nowhere to be seen. What had happened? Everyone present ran around frantically looking for the crown star. They even searched Tang Ning all over. Because of this, many people couldn't help but notice her lovely pale long legs. Legs so beautiful, they were unforgettable. Just as everyone was about to give up, a smile appeared from behind the mysterious golden mask. Tang Ning elegantly raised her arm, tilted her head backwards and lifted her left leg, which was facing the audience, striking a beautiful dance pose. At that moment, out from under the white dress and down her smooth legs, the crown star appeared around Tang Ning's ankle, sparkling magnificently. Wow! Everyone froze in amazement at the scene in front of them. The sight of Tang Ning lying on the chair, seamlessly moving from one pose to the next, was unforgettable. Most impressive of all, every single pose Tang Ning pulled, the crown star would be presented in a different light, showing off its beauty over and over again. The audience rose to their feet and gave Tang Ning a standing ovation. Amongst the crowd, in a high but hidden position, Mo Ting's gaze was focused on Tang Ning. His new wife, once Beijing's top model, was here standing in on behalf of a B-grade model. There was no denying it. No matter if it was 3 years ago or 3 years later, she was still the same model, born for the runway. After Tang Ning's final pose, the show came to a satisfying end. HF's founder was extremely impressed with her performance. Of course, he wasn't aware the model on stage was Tang Ning. He still believed it was Mo Yuru. He appeared from behind the stage and approached Tang Ning. Like a gentleman, he offered his hand, helping Tang Ning off her chair, and led her to the front of the runway as they bowed thankfully to the audience. Thank you, everyone, and of course, thank you, Miss Mo, for a spectacular performance. It was certainly impressive. Tang Ning stayed silent. She just simply responded with a bow. When suddenly, from the front of the runway came a high-pitched voice. She isn't Mo Yuru. I've seen Mo Yuru in real life and she does not have such long legs. At that moment, everyone was stunned as they looked up and down Tang Ning's legs with doubt. If you are indeed Mo Yuru, then remove your mask. If you are not, then Tianyi Entertainment are a bunch of liars. Sounds of doubt multiplied and grew louder. Even the designers of HF were beginning to question whether the woman in front of them was Mo Yuru. Miss Mo, please remove your mask. The designers were curious. Was she really Mo Yuru? If she really wasn't, then their collaboration with Tianyi Entertainment would have to come to an end. Tang Ning hesitated, but she was already surrounded. With no other choice, she slowly removed her mask. At that moment, everyone held their breath. At the sight of her face, some recognized her immediately as the once famed model. It's Tang Ning. It was rumored that after Tang Ning was blacklisted, her status had completely deteriorated. She was even worse off than unsigned models. Who would have thought she would stoop so low as to step in for someone else? Was she deliberately creating hype, or was she forced due to her current situation? Tang Ning, it's actually Tang Ning. The reporters quickly surrounded Tang Ning, giving her no room to escape. Miss Tang, could you please explain the current situation? Mo Yuru was the one that was invited to appear in today's show, but how come it turned out to be you? From what we know, you were blacklisted 3 years ago. Are you trying to take this opportunity to announce a comeback? As a once famous model, are you trying to take Mo Yuru's jobs? Are you taking advantage of her being injured and stealing her opportunity to be a spokesperson? It's obvious you are just trying to create hype. I knew it. Mo Yuru was already injured. How could she possibly attend the show? Famous supermodel my A ***, more like famous super cheap model. The reporters' questions got more and more intense. In fact, some were already spouting insults. Outdated cheap model. Yuru should be the spokesperson. Give it back to her. Tang Ning was slowly forced to retreat as the reporters surrounded her. Some even pushed her. At this moment, HF added to the insults. I'm going to sue Tianyi Entertainment. What you are doing here is blatantly lying. I asked for Mo Yuru, instead you gave me a 3RD rate model. The designer had no idea how famous Tang Ning was 3 years ago. All he knew was that he had not seen this model appear anywhere in recent years. As for you, I'll see you in court. But for now, get lost. You do not deserve to be standing on my runway, he yelled. The sharp voice echoed through the building. Even the reporters were surprised. No model would just stand there and let someone yell at them like that. Why are you still here? Get lost. Tang Ning already prepared herself for this moment, but still struggled to hold back the humiliation. It was at that moment a deep, attractive voice resounded from the end of the stage. Yes, someone should get lost indeed. In surprise, the reporters turned to where the voice was coming from. There, standing at the end of the stage, was Mo Ting. Everyone's eyes opened wide in shock. Isn't this the CEO of Hairui Entertainment? Why is he here? Most importantly, why is he standing on the stage? It was a well-known fact that Mo Ting despised artists that played mind games. Tang Ning is digging her own grave. This time even Hairui can't help but step out from behind the sidelines. Everyone held their breath, certain that Tang Ning was out of luck. But to their surprise, Mo Ting walked over to Tang Ning and stood by her side. With the intimidating tone of a king, he turned to the designer and continued, "But she is not the one that should get lost. It is you. I could make HF disappear from Beijing if I want to. Your manners appear to be on a different level to your jewelry. Tang Ning's heartbeat stopped for a moment. Who would have thought her new husband, who she had only met for the third time, would stand up for her? All the reporters were stunned as they began to worry. Had they known earlier that Tang Ning had ties with Hai Rui, they wouldn't have been so rude. HF's designer was not impressed, but he knew he could not offend Hai Rui International. After a few moments of silence, he reluctantly apologized. Sorry, President Mo. I didn't know of your relationship with... You are wrong. I have no relations with her. I'm just simply questioning your character. Mo Ting denied his relation to Tang Ning and began to walk away. But before he left, he turned around and announced to the reporters, "There is, however, one thing I cannot deny. She will definitely become a rising star in the modeling industry." Chapter 4. The Hidden Marriage Relationship. The media were in a frenzy. What does Mo Ting mean by this? Does he have the intention to sign Tang Ning? Is this some kind of joke? Whatever the explanation, the reporters no longer dared to latch on to Tang Ning. Instead, they shifted all blame to Tianyi Entertainment. Like this, Tianyi Entertainment's troubles began, and Mo Yuru's assistant had unintentionally been the one that started it. If you can't even handle such a small matter, what else can you do? Let's wait and see how President Han will punish you. Tang Ning was unfazed. Her expression was one of unexpected calmness. She changed her clothes and casually left the scene. Just as she stepped out of the side door, she spotted Mo Ting's sports car parked outside. Get in! Tang Ning obediently boarded the car. She was exceptionally grateful for what Mo Ting had done. Thank you for today. Mo Ting's eyes slightly twitched as he let out a smirk. Did you think I would allow someone to bully my newly wedded wife in front of everyone? Actually, I'm not worthy of your help. I intentionally allowed everyone to figure out who I really was, Tang Ning explained apologetically. Mo Ting looked straight into the eyes of the person sitting across from him. I know. It's just that, if you couldn't have thought of a better way to scheme against someone, you should have asked me. Sacrificing yourself to get back at someone is a bit of a stupid move, don't you think? Tang Ning. Where should I drop you off? Your home. Aren't we a married couple now? Tang Ning replied undoubtedly. Since she had already made the decision, she was not going to take it back, nor regret. Are you sure? Not only are we married, but tonight is also our wedding night. Tang Ning blushed, but nodded in certainty. I've already prepared myself, and I'm very thankful that you did not reveal our relationship. However, from now on, I insist you remain neutral. I want to rely on myself to retrieve what is rightfully mine. Mo Ting did not insist. After all, it was rare to see a woman that did not use him as a stepping stone to benefit themselves. He decided to sit back and watch Tang Ning show off her skills. The couple set off. Not long after, Tang Ning received a phone call from her manager, Long Jie. Tang Ning, I have already found evidence of Mo Yuru's pregnancy. What do you want me to do with it? Also, the scene you caused at the jewelry show today has gone viral. People are condemning you all over the internet. What do you plan to do? Long Jie, are you willing to stay by my side? Why are you asking such nonsense? Long Jie mumbled. Did you expect me to continue following that cheating couple? Then release the statement I asked you to prepare earlier. But be warned, by doing this, you will be going up against Tianyi Entertainment. I'm not afraid, Long Jie exclaimed excitedly. We should have done this sooner. I will go prepare the evidence now and release it before Han Yufan has the chance to respond. Tang Ning hung up, and the car returned to its original peacefulness. Deep down, Tang Ning was actually quite nervous. What did Mo Ting think of her? No need to explain. Your conversation just now, I heard it all. However, I have one question. Have you always been this honest? The car had stopped at a red light, and Mo Ting took this opportunity to grab hold of Tang Ning's jaw. examining her with his eagle-like gaze. I am only honest in front of you, and I intend for it to stay this way. Tang Ning revealed her loyalty. Because I am afraid you may misunderstand and think badly of me. Mo Ting was surprised for a moment, before he continued speaking. If I were you, I would be even more extreme. Mo Ting must have guessed by now what was going on between Tang Ning, Mo Yuru, and Han Yufan. Because of his reaction, Tang Ning developed an appreciation for her new husband. She vowed to herself, no matter what was to happen, she was going to remember this day and the promises she made to Mo Ting forever. Meanwhile, Han Yufan was in disbelief as he received news of Tang Ning's exposure on stage. Not only that, at that moment, he also received a phone call from HF, notifying him of their intention to take Tianyi Entertainment to court for breaching their contract. In an instant, Tianyi Entertainment had gotten themselves into a heap of trouble, while rumors were spreading all over the internet like wildfire. Mo Yuru was focused on the recording of Tang Ning's performance on stage as she pulled Han Yufan towards her. Look, Tang Ning wanted to be recognized. She knew the biggest difference between her and I are our legs. She did it on purpose. Yuru, Tang Ning isn't like that. It's not like it's the first time she's substituted for you. Deep down, Han Yufan still trusted Tang Ning. So what you're saying is that you trust Tang Ning more? Don't be stupid, Yufan. Now this incident has happened. Someone has to take the blame. Do you really want to lose this contract? Do you want to tell everyone that you were the one that asked Tang Ning to substitute me? If that's the case, then we are doomed. What are you suggesting? Since you and Tang Ning are getting married soon, she will no longer be a part of the industry. For the sake of Tianyi Entertainment, you need to make an announcement. You need to tell everyone that you were unaware of this entire incident, and everything was just Tang Ning's attempt at creating hype. That's why she went behind our backs and pretended to be me. Mo Yuru was completely throwing the blame onto Tang Ning. I guess, under these circumstances, that is all we can do. Han Yufan nodded in agreement. However, just as he was trying to contact the head of PR, he received a call from his assistant. Quick, President Han, check the entertainment news headlines. Tang Ning's manager has just revealed some big news. Han Yufan quickly jumped online to search the headlines. To his disbelief, Tang Ning's manager was already a step ahead of them. She revealed that Han Yufan had forced Tang Ning to substitute Mo Yuru multiple times in the past, with comparison pictures of the two models as proof. She also complained that small companies tend to bully people and revealed that Tang Ning had been bullied for many years. In anger, Han Yufan quickly contacted Tang Ning's manager. Longjie, are you crazy? On the other side of the phone, Longjie's laughter resounded. Calmly she responded, I've wanted to leave this lousy company of yours for a long time. Yufan, this is definitely Tang Ning's doing. Quick, let's cover it up by posting news of her creating hype. Without hesitation, Han Yufan immediately contacted his connections in the media and got Longjie's news taken down. He quickly replaced it with the news he had prepared earlier of Tang Ning's attempts at creating hype. In an instant, Tang Ning and Tianyi Entertainment became the most searched terms online with mixed responses. No one was aware of the relationship between Tang Ning and Mo Ting, so compared to Tang Ning, no one was brave enough to offend Han Yufan. Tang Ning definitely received the shorter end of the stick, attracting an unbelievable amount of insults online. Just as everyone thought the tables had turned, the term Tang Ning substitute suddenly jumped to the top of search rankings. Search results all led to the news Longjie had released earlier, revealing that Tang Ning was the real victim. Of course, Longjie's story had got out first, and the netizens had already made their decision. On top of everything, the fact that Tang Ning had substituted Mo Yuru so many times without causing any trouble, and was continually being used, became the hot topic online. The online community all agreed Tang Ning was indeed the victim. In disbelief, Han Yufan picked up his phone and contacted his PR, ordering them to use more money to take down Tang Ning's news. Meanwhile, Mo Ting was on the phone with the main news sources. If the news of Tanning disappears from search rankings, then be prepared for your companies to close down. Chapter 5. Wedding Night. The media couldn't offend Hai Rui, even though they didn't understand why Hai Rui was helping Tang Ning. Even Long Jie didn't understand why their plan had run so smoothly. She had originally expected it to take a few days. Tang Ning, tell me, are you being supported by another company? No, Tang Ning replied as she glanced at the man beside her. However, there is indeed a person that has been assisting me behind the scenes, but I can't reveal who it is yet. Haha, that's okay. We will talk about it later. Just the thought of Han Yufan's distraught face is enough to satisfy me. Long Jie assumed Tang Ning had help from her family. She had no idea that Tang Ning had in fact suddenly become the wife of the king of entertainment, Mo Ting. Are you trying to use this opportunity to leave Tianyi? Mo Ting asked as he elegantly sliced the steak in front of him. No, I would be letting them off too easy if I was to leave so simply. I'm going to tear them down from their perch, Tang Ning explained. Plus, I have already decided to return to the modeling industry. Unfortunately, my popularity isn't as great as before, which is why Tianyi may come of use. You are like this right now because you are angry. What if one day you no longer hate? What I have decided on I will not regret, let alone turn back, Tang Ning told Mo Ting in certainty. When in love, she could love with all her heart. When in hate, she could tear the other person apart with her bare hands. On top of everything, quite a decent amount of time had passed since news of Tang Ning's exposure on stage had gotten out, yet Han Yufan hadn't even made a single phone call to check on her. Instead, he had released news that could easily ruin Tang Ning. There was no way she was going to let Han Yufan hurt her again. Mo Ting remained silent, but he was already intrigued by Tang Ning. Tang Ning wasn't stupid, in fact. She was very smart. She knew she couldn't hide anything from Mo Ting, so she quickly revealed everything in front of him. Whether good or bad, there was no holding back. All that existed was trust. I've asked my assistant to prepare a room in this hotel. Tonight we will be staying here. My home is no fun. Tang Ning's ears flushed red as she nodded. Up to you. Meanwhile, Han Yufan was all over the place, trying to come to a truce with the media and his business partners. Coupled with the news of Mo Yuru's pregnancy, the thought of Tang Ning didn't even cross his mind, nor did he care where she was right now. After a romantic dinner, Tang Ning followed closely behind Mo Ting as he led her to the presidential suite. Surprisingly, it wasn't just any normal presidential suite, it was actually a wedding suite. Under such rushed conditions, Mo Ting somehow managed to prepare so much for her. She couldn't help but feel touched by his consideration. If it was someone else, there was no way they would have done the same. Mo Ting could sense the nervousness coming from Tang Ning. He removed his suit jacket as he turned to her and said, I'll have a shower first, so you can have some time to make a decision. If you are still unsure, we can delay our wedding night indefinitely. Tang Ning was thankful for his thoughtfulness as she watched him head into the bathroom. But they were already married. What right did she have to make Mo Ting accommodate for her childish indecisiveness? Thinking this, Tang Ning threw open the door and headed into the bathroom. Mo Ting looked at her in surprise as she reached out and embraced him in a tight hug. I do not regret. Are you sure? Once I've made you mine, you will no longer have the chance to change your mind. Mo Ting restrained himself. His deep, sexy voice was enough to strike a chord in anyone's heart, putting them into a daze. I am certain. Hearing her response, Mo Ting let himself go. With one hand, he grabbed Tang Ning by the waist and pressed his lips against hers. With his other hand, he undid her dress, which was now soaking wet. Tang Ning's mind was buzzing. She had never experienced a kiss like this before, one so magical she was losing control. Standing under the shower, Tang Ning looked up at Mo Ting. Completely mesmerized, she examined his handsome looks. She noticed the diamond-like mole on his earlobe and his eyes that were looking at her passionately, wanting to swallow her whole. However, Even when the time came to take things further, he did not rush. Instead, he wrapped her in a towel and carried her in his arms out to the rose-petal-covered bed. Afterwards, his tall body came down on her. He was already wearing protection. However, just as he was about to enter her, he felt an obstruction. Tang Ning cried out in pain. Mo Ting pulled back quickly as he wrapped her in the blanket. He originally thought, since Tang Ning was in the entertainment industry and she had already been in a relationship with Han Yufan, this couldn't have possibly been her first time, but the feeling just now, he was sure she had never engaged in this type of activity before. What's wrong? Tang Ning noticed Mo Ting had stopped and couldn't help but lift her head up to question him. Her face was blushing attractively. Let's do it next time. Mo Ting was surprised. At the same time, he felt bad for having misunderstood Tang Ning. Are you not satisfied with me? If I had continued going, you would have been hurt. Mo Ting put on his robe and returned to the bed, trying to control his desires. He didn't want Tang Ning's first time to be a bad experience. Why didn't you tell me you had no experience? How was I to bring up something like this? Tang Ning responded as she huddled up against Mo Ting's shoulder. I knew you would have found out yourself. Anyway, what was that just now? Did we do it? Regardless of whether we did it or not, you are now Mrs. Mo. You can't escape. After he spoke, Mo Ting stood up, lifted Tang Ning up and headed for the bathroom. Let me see if you are hurt. Looking at the worried expression on his face, Tang Ning couldn't help but let out a laugh. You are nothing like how the outside world portrays you. How did you think I would be like? Mo Ting placed Tang Ning gently into the bathtub and turned on the water. A ruler with complete control over the life and death of his entertainers. A person with no human sense. To other people, I am indeed like that. Mo Ting expressed sincerely. But you are different. Since you are my wife and are so trusting of me, I will show you my true self. However, Tang Ning, I must warn you. To me, a lie is a lie. If you betray my trust, I will never forgive you. Tang Ning sat up comfortably, her nose almost touching Mo Ting's. What a coincidence, I am the same. That night their physical relationship had technically only reached halfway, but their hearts had been drawn closer together. The next morning, Tang Ning awoke to the blinding light of the sun shining through the window. To her surprise, the spot beside her was already empty. Tang Ning thought Mo Ting had already left, but he was actually waiting for her patiently in the living room whilst flipping through some documents. I've prepared some new clothes in the bathroom for you. We will leave after you freshen up. Tang Ning nodded obediently as she turned towards the bathroom. At that moment, her phone suddenly rang. It was Han Yufan. Tang Ning looked at Mo Ting awkwardly as he charmingly lifted one eyebrow and asked, Do you want me to pick it up? Chapter 6. Returning to the position of top model. Of course not, the timing isn't right. Mo Ting knew what she was thinking, so he grabbed the phone and handed it to her. Tang Ning did not step aside to take the phone call. Instead, she confidently pressed the answer button, right in front of Mo Ting. Tang Ning, where are you right now? I was afraid the reporters would find me, so I found a place to hide. Tang Ning replied calmly. So you're saying you aren't aware of the incident with Longzhe? Han Yufan asked in a patient tone. What's wrong with Longzhe? The place I have hidden in is quite remote, so I haven't been able to keep up with what's happening on the outside. What happened? Tang Ning tried her best to sound curious. Thanks to your manager, Tianyi is now in a mess. Return to the office first. I'm going to arrange for you to hold a press conference. Tang Ning, I am depending on you to clear Tianyi's name. Press conference? More like another opportunity for him to throw the blame on Tang Ning. Did he really think she was still that naive? Tang Ning hung up the phone in disgust, when suddenly Mo Ting began to speak. I've already saved my number in your phone. Anytime you need me, give me a call and let me know what you want to do. Thank you, Mo Ting. You shouldn't be calling me that. Mo Ting unfolded his legs and pulled Tang Ning to his side. Call me something else, or I won't let you go. Tang Ning blushed as she whispered shyly, hubby. A rare smile appeared on Mo Ting's face. Come on, I'll drop you off at work. Remember what you promised. Don't get too close to another man. Tang Ning knew exactly what Mo Ting was referring to. She responded with a reassuring smile and a hopeful look in her eyes for Mo Ting to trust her. Mo Ting's heart skipped a beat. Between the two of them, there was nothing more to say. In just 40 minutes, Mo Ting had successfully driven Tang Ning to a location close to Tianyi Entertainment. As the king of entertainment, he knew all the deepest, darkest secrets of the industry. Hence, he was curious as to how Tang Ning intended on turning the tables to retrieve her position as top model. Tang Ning knew what she was getting herself into. It was clear that this was a game where she had to keep her cards hidden, whilst her enemies had already laid their cards on the table. If she couldn't change the outcome even after swapping out her entire hand, then she would have to admit defeat. After stepping out of Mo Ting's car, she accessed the building through a secret walkway. As soon as the staff spotted Tang Ning, the room was filled with mixed reactions of disgust, hate, and mockery, as if they were sure Longjia's revelations were all under Tang Ning's directions. Tang Ning pretended not to notice. She walked over to Han Yufan's room and pushed open the door as her gaze met the back of Han Yufan's head. You're back. Han Yufan turned around, holding back his anger. Tell me, what happened? Tang Ning, are you certain you don't know about the incident with Longjie? Han Yufan threw the newspaper reports in front of Tang Ning. He questioned her angrily. If she didn't receive orders from you, how would she be brave enough to do this? Yufan, we are about to get married. Why would I do something like this? Wouldn't that be pushing you away? Tang Ning choked on her words as she looked at him innocently. Then how do you explain why you placed the crown star on your ankle at the show? You knew very well that the biggest difference between you and Yuru are your legs. Tang Ning looked at Han Yufan as he interrogated her. She thought back on the multiple times that Han Yufan had protected Mo Yuru in the same way. She once thought it was all because he was trying to protect his own growing career, so she was willing to endure being wronged and allowed him to stick up for another person. But from the looks of it now, the only person he wanted to protect all along had solely been Mo Yuru. At the time, I had no way of wearing the crown star on anywhere but my ankles. Mo Yuru's assistant was also present, you can ask him. I asked him already, and he said you had made the decision yourself. Han Yufan pressed on. Yufan, I am your fiancé, yet you choose to believe an outsider. Tang Ning faked a look of disappointment as she continued to observe Han Yufan's reactions. Yesterday, we were supposed to be signing our wedding papers. It's too late to say anything now. The damage is done. HF has already notified the court of their intention to sue Tianyi for breaching the contract, and thanks to your manager, the public's negative reactions towards Tianyi are now getting worse and worse. You need to take responsibility for this. Han Yufan looked down at Tang Ning condescendingly. He gave off the aura of an almighty god passing judgment. You will be my wife soon. I don't want my wife to hurt my career. That's why, Tang Ning, for the sake of Tianyi, you have the responsibility to step out and explain to the public the entire mess was created by your manager for hype and has nothing to do with Tianyi. Admitting that my manager was responsible is just like admitting I was responsible. Weren't you the one that called me to hastily substitute Mo Yuru? Tang Ning cried. Yufan, is it because I am to marry you that I should be sacrificed? I don't care. Being recognized was your fault. As soon as those words left his lips, Han Yufan must have felt he had gone too far. He quickly calmed down and reached out his arms to give Tang Ning a hug. However, she retaliated by pushing him away. Tang Ning, I was just getting a bit impatient. Just this once. After we are married, I promise to treat you well. Of course, Tang Ning held back her tears and nodded. I am doing this not because I admit to creating this mess. It is because I want to protect your career. But there will be no next time. Yes, I promise. There will be no next time. In actual fact, Han Yufan knew Tang Ning would fall for it again next time. Especially after they were married, according to Tang Ning's character, she would be easily controlled by him. The press conference will be this afternoon at 3 p.m. We will have a meeting in a minute to go over your script. Okay! Tang Ning stopped crying and forced herself to look into Han Yufan's eyes like always. But, as soon as she left the room, her eyes swept over with a cold gaze. She couldn't immediately forget the jerk, but she was going to stick by her decisions. There was no way she was going to take on the blame for Han Yufan's wrongdoings again. After thinking carefully, she returned to her own room and phoned her manager. Longjie, Han Yufan is trying to use me as a shield. Ha ha! Tang Ning, tell me what you want me to do. Her manager was full of fighting spirit. 3 p.m., I will announce I created the mess and apologize. Afterwards, I want you to anonymously release photos of Han Yufan and Mo Yuru being affectionate in the hospital. Haha, sure. I've even thought up of a great headline. Exposed. Tianyi's boss has multiple affairs. The biggest cheating scum. Tang Ning couldn't help but respond with a laugh before she began to apologize. Sorry, Longji, for dragging you into all this. Tang Ning, as long as you have made the decision to start afresh, I will help you return to being the top model. In fact, not only that, I will help you become an international supermodel. Chapter 7. Han Yufan, you are ruthless. International supermodel. She had never thought that far. She simply wanted to focus on the present, to make Han Yufan and Mo Yuru face their consequences. 12 p.m., just before the meeting at Tianyi. Han Yufan, who hadn't had lunch with Tang Ning for a long time, suddenly decided to take her out to the fancy restaurant downstairs. He even booked a table and organized a candlelit lunch. Looking at the roses paired with the candles, Tang Ning had no reaction. She sat down as Han Yufan pulled out her chair. I have ordered your favorite sirloin steak. Tang Ning was surprised for a moment. She was speechless. It turned out, even after 5 years of being together, Han Yufan still did not know what she liked. What is it? You don't like it? Just as Tang Ning was about to respond, the chef appeared beside them holding a tray. He turned to Tang Ning. Miss Tang, today we have your favorite filet steak. I would like to represent the Fredericks restaurant in congratulating you on your wedding. Upon hearing this, Han Yufan's expression changed, but he was too embarrassed to say anything. He just quietly replaced Tang Ning's plate. Your tastes have changed. Thank you, but we aren't married yet, Tang Ning explained to the chef whilst ignoring Han Yufan. You sure are attentive. I only mentioned it once and you remembered. The chef politely left and Tang Ning turned back towards Han Yufan. Next time I will definitely remember what my wife likes to eat, Han Yufan reminded himself. Hurry, let's eat. We still need to go back and discuss the script. Tang Ning sneered on the inside but kept her composure. At this moment, she received an SMS titled 0819. When she opened it up, she realized it was a message from Mo Ting. 0819 was yesterday, the date of their wedding. The steak is from me. What the chef meant was, congratulations on our wedding. Tang Ning let out a laugh and sent a response from under the table. How did you know where I would be? I have a way of finding out what I want to know. Mo Ting answered her calmly. Tang Ning held onto her phone as she glanced around the restaurant. However, Mo Ting was nowhere in sight. Although she didn't know how he managed to organize something so thoughtful, she could sense he was nearby. He had a presence like a king that no one could ignore or deny. Tang Ning, what are you looking at? Han Yufan asked, as he waved his hands in front of her eyes. His gaze was full of questions. Oh, it's nothing. Tang Ning shook her head and calmly changed the topic. Yufan, when will we go back to register our marriage? After all this has settled. You do realize the upcoming top 10 model awards would be Mo Yuru's opportunity to advance in her career. Tang Ning, she is lucky to have you. Otherwise, Yuru would have been ruined this time. Han Yufan poured Tang Ning some red wine and raised his glass against hers. I will help you get back what you deserve. Tang Ning smiled softly. Her dimples made her appear even more beautiful. However, Han Yufan, at present, didn't notice her at all. His heart was already bewitched by years of bedside seduction from Mo Yuru, so he had no idea Tang Ning's words had a hidden meaning. Tang Ning, you have suffered. Tang Ning knew, for all that she was about to do, today's lunch was just a little reward. However, this reward was all a ploy to mask his true intentions. Also, after the press conference, get in contact with your manager. In order to deal with her, it looks like we have to use a legal approach. Okay, Tang Ning smiled sweetly. However, there was no way she was going to let him touch Longzhi. 2 p.m. Inside Tianyi's main hall, reporters from all forms of media were gathered. They were all interested in what Tang Ning had to say. Everyone had questions for Tang Ning, ranging from why she suddenly retreated from the public eye to why she signed on with Tianyi to what really happened with her substituting Mo Yuru. Ever since she retreated, she had kept a low profile. It was hard to find anything bad about her. Today was the perfect opportunity for them. 3 p.m. Dressed in plain clothes, Tang Ning appeared with bodyguards by her side. She slowly walked onto the stage and turned around to face the crowd. The reporters fought to be the first to question her. Tang Ning, your name is number 1 in search rankings and it continues to stay up there. Did you pay for that position? Tang Ning, you and Mo Yuru are both models of Tianyi, but in recent years, only she has been in the limelight. Have you been frozen by the company so you were envious of her fame? Tang Ning, did you create this mess for hype? Facing the chaotic scene, the company's staff quickly stepped out to hold back the reporters, putting everything back in control. Finally, Tang Ning was allowed to speak. First of all, I want to apologize to everyone for giving the company a damaged reputation and causing everyone to question Miss Mo Yuru's integrity. At the HF Crown Star Show, I made the decision myself, unknown to my company and Mo Yuru, to appear on stage. Everything that has happened has nothing to do with my company, Tianyi nor Miss Mo Yuru. I was indeed trying to create hype, but my manager has nothing to do with it. She was merely being used by me. I have decided to take on all the responsibility. Thank you for your patience. Thank you. After Tang Ning spoke, the hall was in an uproar. The reporters weren't at ease. They had never seen a celebrity admit to her wrongdoing so easily and in such a straightforward manner. Other people would have tried to avoid the situation, but she had taken on all the blame, claiming it had nothing to do with her manager, company, or Mo Yuru. Tang Ning thought with that, everything was over. But unexpectedly, Han Yufan had prepared something else. In order to confirm that she was an attention seeker, he allowed the artist director to approach Tang Ning and face the media. This was not the first time she has done something like this, but the company and I will give her one last chance. Tang Ning, I hope you can learn from your mistakes and not step over the line again. Not the first time. The purpose of those words were to obviously push back Longzhi's claims. Now it seemed every time she had substituted Mo Yuru in the past was to create hype for herself. Han Yufan, you are ruthless. Tang Ning remained silent as she gave an apologetic bow to the media. Then, with the protection of the company's staff, she was escorted out of the main hall. In an instant, the netizens were filled with hate. Since Tang Ning had admitted everything outright, the public only saw what was on the surface and were filled with anger. Even the staff at Hairui treated the matter like a laughingstock. Coming out of a meeting, Mo Ting overheard his staff's discussions. He turned to look at his assistant, who quickly revealed what had happened at the press conference today. President, did you want to do something to assist Miss Tang? Not just yet. I want to see how she will deal with it herself. Mo Ting replied gently. He had already mentioned before that he was curious how Tang Ning would react. Because he had helped her the last 2 times, he wanted to see how she would resolve this issue herself. As Mo Ting's wife, was she really going to let something like this discourage her? Chapter 8. Pictures and a Video. Regardless of everything else, the fact that Tang Ning stepped out and admitted to creating the mess wiped Tianyi's reputation completely clean. Discussions with HF were successful as they accepted Han Yufan's apology, and the position of spokesperson was handed over to Mo Yuru, as originally intended, since she was also a victim. After this incident, her popularity was expected to skyrocket. Tianyi Entertainment and Mo Yuru recovered from the incident completely unscathed, but Tang Ning was completely destroyed. In an instant, Queen of Hype, Scheming Model, Green Tea Bixi X, Asterisk Tanning, and other similar terms started appearing on search rankings, and all the search results led to discussions filled with offensive language. Tang Ning sat in her room watching the news. She tried her best to remain calm, because she knew all that she was enduring now would soon be turned on its head. Han Yufan and Mo Yuru was going to suffer 10 times more than what she was experiencing now. However, at present, in the eyes of the public, her image had completely crumbled. Even the cleaner couldn't help giving her attitude. "Miss Tang, could you please move your precious legs? Can't you see I'm trying to clean here? It's not like you have a show to attend, yet you still come in every day. My back hurts from having to clean up after you." Tang Ning's expression turned cold. Even though she had fallen to a low point in her career, it didn't mean she was going to allow just anyone to bully her. She picked up her phone and rang Han Yufan, making sure to put the call on loudspeaker so the cleaner could hear their conversation. "Yufan, is my position in this company so low that I deserve to be spoken down to, even by the cleaner?" "Get her name and tell HR to dismiss her," Han Yufan replied without hesitation. Tang Ning hung up the phone and looked up at the cleaner with a cold gaze. "Just because I'm easygoing doesn't mean you can talk to me casually. Just because I'm not a model doesn't mean I'm no longer a member of the Tang family. If I wanted to, I could make a simple cleaner like you unemployed forever, without lifting a finger." The cleaner's face turned pale as she broke out in a cold sweat. She never knew Tang Ning could be so intimidating. She quickly bowed apologetically. "Sorry, Miss Tang, I won't ever do it again." Even if you are above others, you should treat others equally, not to mention the fact that you are below others. Tang Ning didn't want to make things difficult for the staff, but she had to teach them a lesson. After speaking, she stood up. She received an SMS from Han Yufan to go to his office. "Tang Ning, your image right now has fallen to the depths of the abyss, so I have arranged for you to take part in some activities. Hopefully you can redeem yourself in front of the public. Isn't Mo Yuru hurt? Why don't you go pay her a visit and take care of her to show you're sorry? Maybe you can get some sympathy votes." Tang Ning examined Han Yufan's face and questioned why she had never noticed how disgraceful he looked. Mo Yuru was obviously using this opportunity to humiliate her. Yet Han Yufan had actually suggested Tang Ning go take care of her. "You just need to put on a show in front of the cameras for a few minutes, as the footage gets broadcasted live." Han Yufan originally thought Tang Ning would refuse. Mo Yuru had used her child as leverage against Han Yufan in order to make him ask Tang Ning for such an unreasonable request. But she unexpectedly nodded in agreement. "Okay, you're willing to do it." "Ever since Mo Yuru got hurt, I haven't had the chance to visit her. This is the perfect chance," Tang Ning replied in a poised manner. "In that case, I'll find some people to escort you out of here. There are a whole heap of reporters outside." Tang Ning remained calm and collected, even though she was aware Mo Yuru's plan was to torment her. She knew, the more high and mighty Mo Yuru felt now, the harder she would fall. The person to laugh at the end was still to be determined. Not long after, Tang Ning boarded the car of Han Yufan's assistant and headed towards Tianhe Hospital. On the way, she messaged Mo Ting. Hubby, do not be worried by any news you see about me. I have a plan. Also, I want to return home tonight. Can you send someone to pick me up from Tianhe Hospital? I don't know where our new home is. In the middle of a meeting, Mo Ting received Tang Ning's message. For the first time ever, he paused what he was doing, causing all the company's higher-ups to look at each other in surprise. What kind of godlike person has such influence? Mo Ting ignored the reactions of those around him. All he could focus on was Tang Ning's pitiful tone. He quickly replied to her message. Good girl, I will pick you up later. After receiving Mo Ting's message, Tang Ning couldn't help but imagine Mo Ting's expression as he called her a good girl. A sweet smile appeared on her face, and her eyes curved like two crescent moons. At this moment, Han Yufan's assistant looked at Tang Ning from his rearview mirror. You can still smile now, but wait till you find out what's coming to you. Tang Ning knew the whole world was currently hostile towards her, but she forced herself to not care about what others thought. After contacting Mo Ting, she sent a message to her manager. Longjie, Han Yufan has arranged for me to go take care of Mo Yuru at the hospital. I am almost there. Are you ready? Anyone perceptive enough would be able to tell that Mistress is using this as an opportunity to humiliate you. Does she think she will be able to do that? I have been ready a long time ago. I'm sure the public will be entertained. I have pictures and a video. You can release the pictures. Keep the video for later. I want to give Han Yufan and Mo Yuru some time to argue. I understand. We should wait for the right time. When they are at their worst, I will release the video and seal the deal. Longjie was abnormally excited. I want Mo Yuru to fall when she is at her highest point. Tang Ning, even though there are so many people insulting you, I notice there are still the small minority that are sticking up for you. I guess there is some good that has come from all this. Longjie, please be careful. After her messages with her manager, Tang Ning immediately deleted her entire conversation as the corner of her lips curved slightly upwards. Inside one of the private hospital rooms, Mo Yuro was sitting weakly in bed. Just the thought of being able to humiliate Tang Ning in a moment made her eyes twinkle. Never in her wildest dreams had she thought Tang Ning would be so stupid as to take on all the blame. Not only did she increase Mo Yuru's worth, she also helped her secure the spokesperson deal with HF. Yuru, Tang Ning is almost here. When she arrives, the cameras will turn on and you will be broadcasted live for 3 minutes. In a moment, I am going to ask the doctor to come in to change your bandages. At the same time, I'm going to make Tang Ning wash your feet. This day has finally arrived, Mo Yuru exclaimed. She had been overshadowed by Tang Ning for so long. From this point on, she vowed to only keep climbing higher and higher. She was going to step all over Tang Ning, take Han Yufan from her, and become the first lady of Tianyi. From now on, things will only get better for you. Plus, the annual Top 10 Model Awards are about to make their selection. I'm sure you will be selected. At that time, you will be one step closer to becoming a top model. Mo Yuru slowly exposed traces of a smile. This was better than anything she had ever dreamed of. With everything going her way, her arrogance began to grow. Chapter 9. I definitely won't apologize to you. The hospital gave off its usual unpleasant smell. Tang Ning entered the hospital, escorted by Han Yufan's assistant. She was all alone without a single assistant of her own to support her. After finding Mo Yuru's room, Tang Ning could see Mo Yuru's assistant guarding the door. This was the man that claimed she made all the decisions on her own on the day of the show. He had thrown all the blame on her. You're here, he said, as he looked her up and down snobbishly. He was deliberately trying to make things difficult for Tang Ning. Just wait here, Yuru is still resting. Tang Ning lifted up her handbag with her 2 hands and looked Mo Yuru's assistant straight in the eyes. With a slow and gentle voice she asked, Do you know my surname? Nonsense. Who doesn't know your surname is Tang? Since you know my surname is Tang, then you should be aware of my family background. How dare a little assistant like you act arrogantly in front of me? Is that Tang Ning? Please come in. Mo Yuru heard Tang Ning's voice outside and felt disappointed at her assistant's stupidity. If he wanted to go against Tang Ning, this was not the right way. After all, she still had the Tang family behind her, even though they no longer paid as much attention to her as they once did when she was still famous. Tang Ning held her head high and walked into the room, ignoring the angry assistant. Seeing Mo Yuru sitting on the bed acting pitiful with one injured leg, she smiled. Yuru, are you okay? Tang Ning knew Mo Yuru had intentionally hurt her own leg in order to prevent Han Yufan from getting married. This woman is so ruthless. I heard from President Han that we are to film a 3-minute live broadcast, is that right? Tang Ning, we are like sisters. I'm more than willing to help you with this favor so you can redeem yourself in front of the public. Tang Ning hesitated for a moment. She couldn't believe how shameless Mo Yuru was. She was almost on the same level as Han Yufan. The truth behind the substitution incident was known between the three of them, yet Mo Yuru acted like nothing had happened. Tang Ning looked a little upset as she said in an angry tone, I only came to visit you. You really don't need to be polite. That's right. We've already prepared a scene for you. In a moment, the doctor will come in to change Yuru's bandages. At that time, in order to highlight your sincerity, we have arranged for you to wash Yuru's feet. That way the public will see how sorry you are. That's enough. Tang Ning angrily interrupted the two. Mo Yuru, the substitution incident, both you and I know the truth. Don't you think it's time you should stop? Tang Ning, what are you talking about? I don't understand. Must you really flip what's right and wrong around? Tang Ning's voice held a sense of being wronged. If it was not for Yufan, I would not tolerate you so many times. Have I not helped you enough? Tang Ning, it's enough that you won't apologize. Must you also badmouth other people? You've already admitted to creating everything for hype. Mo Yuru was a master of acting. She didn't slip on her words and maintained her innocence. I definitely won't apologize to you, Tang Ning unexpectedly said in a serious tone. At this time, Mo Yuru's assistant recorded her words and immediately posted the video online with the headline, Attention-seeking green tea Bakes being insincere, secretly declares, I definitely won't apologize to you. In an instant, 1,000 waves were once again stirred up, ready to crash down onto Tang Ning. Reporters flocked to the scene, but no one intercepted Tang Ning, leaving Mo Yuru all alone crying pitifully in front of the camera. Originally, I thought since we were both models, I wasn't going to pursue this incident, but Tang Ning has gone too far. Not only did she refuse to apologize, she also threw words of abuse. That's how the war between the two began. Two models that didn't know how to control themselves in front of the public put on a tearful drama, drawing the attention of passers-by to stop and crowd around. Tianyi quickly responded by releasing a statement, apologizing to the public and stating their intention to seriously deal with Tang Ning, giving off the idea that they were going to dismiss her. At the same time, Tang Ning's, I definitely won't apologize to you, became a viral phrase online. Just as everyone was insulting Tang Ning, a famous online personality released an album of photos. The album was titled, It's Not That Tang Ning Won't Apologize, It's That She Shouldn't Apologize. The album was filled with photos of Mo Yuru and Han Yufan embracing each other. In the photos, Mo Yuru and Han Yufan were both in the hospital. Han Yufan was on top of Mo Yuru while she was still wearing her hospital gown. All the netizens' eyes lit up in shock as a famous website also responded by demanding in a post, reveal the truth behind the Tang Ning substitution incident. The post included all the fine details of the incident, using the fact that Mo Yuru and Han Yufan were cheating to set the tone. It provided a clear analysis of how Tang Ning was forced to compromise, then led to being suppressed, and finally pushed into reacting angrily. For the sake of love, she was forced to take all the blame. At the same time, her fiancé's mistress was making advances and humiliating her. Like this, the scandal was uncovered. Han Yufan and Mo Yuru's intimate photos spread everywhere, and the netizens finally discovered, apart from the substitute incident, there wasn't a single piece of bad news about Tang Ning floating around. Even searching as far back as 3 years, all they could find were pictures of her modeling on stage, as beautiful as ever. This woman, who gave up her career for love, never tried to explain herself even once. Even after the recent incident, she immediately stood out and took on full responsibility. Dear God, everyone has misunderstood Tang Ning. Mo Yuru really knows how to act. Who would have thought Tianyi would suppress such a poor woman? The tables had once again turned. Countless people online started to feel guilty for having previously judged Tang Ning. Their feelings for her quickly turned from dark to light. While all this was happening, Mo Yuru was in the middle of an interview. I no longer know how to evaluate her shamelessness. The reporter was consumed in the moment when her workmate suddenly pulled out his phone to show her something. After seeing the photos, the reporter held up the phone and questioned Mo Yuru. Miss Mo, are these photos real? What is this? Mo Yuru's face turned pale. These are intimate photos of you and the CEO of Tianyi, Han Yufan. Do you want me to go into more detail about what you are doing in the photos exactly? Mo Yuru froze. Just a moment ago she was still crying in front of the camera, acting all pitiful. Now she had suddenly turned into a mistress that had seduced someone else's boyfriend. In their eyes, she was no different from the new models that were selling themselves to move up in the industry. Most importantly, she couldn't find any words to stick up for herself. The reporters felt embarrassed for her. So, these photos are real, I suppose. On one side you were crying, while on the other you were stealing someone else's boyfriend. The female reporter's question suddenly got tougher. No. The photos are obvious. Don't tell me you still want to deny it. No, it's all fake. This is all part of Tang Ning's plans. Mo Yuru suddenly became helpless in front of the camera. Don't film anymore. Get out. I don't want to be interviewed anymore. Go. The female reporter let out a cold, She despised Mo Yuru. Miss Mo, even though we are all used to being in the entertainment industry, I still have to tell you this. God will punish those that have bad intentions. There is justice in this word. Just by Tang Ning's actions of stepping out and putting all the blame on herself, from now on, I will no longer write anything bad about her. Mo Yuru was trembling in fear. As soon as the reporters left, she made a phone call to Han Yufan. Yufan, have you seen the photos? What should we do? It's just photos. What are you panicking about? The company is currently working on a solution. Han Yufan responded calmly. However, inside, he wasn't as calm as he appeared. By exposing everything, not only would it affect Mo Yuru's future as well as Tianyi's, but it could also cause him to lose Tang Ning forever. After all, he had suppressed her and cheated on her. Tang Ning must be behind all this. If you didn't pick on her, do you think all this would happen? After he spoke, Han Yufan hung up the phone angrily. Then, after finding Tang Ning's phone number, he gave her a call. It's obviously ringing. Tang Ning picked up the phone. In reality, Tang Ning was holding her phone in her hand. She was imagining how anxious Han Yufan must be feeling right now, so she decided not to pick up. After running out of Mo Yuru's room, Tang Ning found a place to hide quietly while she waited for Mo Ting to send someone to pick her up. To her surprise, Mo Ting had decided to come in person. Tang Ning, get in. After hearing his deep voice, all the uneasiness in her heart cleared. The phone continued to ring, but she threw it into the back seat of Mo Ting's car. You're not picking up? Mo Ting asked, revealing one side of his handsome face. You already know the answer, Tang Ning smirked. Her aim was to make Han Yufan look for her all night and experience how it felt to suffer. Chapter 10. Determined to be reborn. Mo Ting stopped talking and focused his gaze in front of him. Meanwhile, Tang Ning's gaze was focused on the black mole on Mo Ting's earlobe. It was like he was born with an earring, giving him a slightly evil and dangerous aura. The way you're looking at me, are you inviting me to kiss you, hug you, or... Tang Ning held in her nervousness. She reached out her hand and grabbed onto Mo Ting's arm, trying to avoid his passionate gaze. Before we go to our new home, could you accompany me somewhere first? After we go, can we finish off what we didn't finish last night, huh? Mo Ting was questioning her casually. But Tang Ning couldn't hide her nervousness, because deep down, she knew she may not be able to gather the same amount of courage she had the previous night. Mo Ting did not pressure her, nor did he continue to speak. He just allowed her to continue holding onto his arm as he let out a sneaky smile. The two of them didn't end up heading straight home as per Tang Ning's request. Instead, they ended up at a famous cherry blossom forest. This was a place Tang Ning had frequently met Han Yufan for their dates. However, today, she was going to remove him completely from her heart. So, in the end, she finally picked up her phone. I am at the cherry blossom forest, where we always met on our dates. If you still want to see me, then meet me there. See you there. Okay, I will come right away. Han Yufan agreed immediately. Even though he was having an affair with Mo Yuru, he never intended on giving up on Tang Ning. Where was he going to find another woman that was so easy to trick? Plus, all along she had been loyal to him. She had a good family background and she had a good temper. Tang Ning hung up and looked over at Mo Ting, who was sitting opposite her. With an honest but choked-up voice, she promised, "This is the last time I will speak to him on the phone regarding our personal feelings. From now on, never again." Mo Ting lifted his eyebrows. Without a word, he patted the seat beside him, gesturing for Tang Ning to sit beside him, giving off a sense of possession. Tang Ning obediently sat beside him. The two of them looked out the window of the restaurant at the scene below. Not long after, an anxious figure appeared beneath the cherry blossom tree. Han Yufan had arrived. So many times in the past had she stood in the same spot Han Yufan was currently standing in, naively waiting all day. 5 out of 10 times she would be stood up. Thinking about it now, the sincerity she had shown was so easily stepped all over. So, being stood up, being played around with, being betrayed. She wanted Han Yufan to experience it all. Will this really relieve your hatred? Mo Ting asked, with one arm over Tang Ning's shoulder, as he looked at the figure below them. Of course not. But I want him to experience everything I went through, no matter big or small. Mo Ting reached out his long fingers and grabbed hold of Tang Ning's chin. Looking into her eyes, he saw a delicate woman, yet, when she was faced with emotional pain, she could deal with things so cleanly. She ended things quickly, like she said she would, without an ounce of pretense. When ordering, I ordered some foie gras. The waiter said it had come directly from France. I thought it would be quite good. Mo Ting released her from his grasp and let out a surprised smile. How did you know I like it? It's not hard to find out my husband's preferences. Tang Ning gestured for the waiter to start serving their dishes. Let's eat while we chat. Mo Ting looked at her pink and soft, rose-like thin lips. His gaze revealed a trace of danger. But I don't want to chat, I just want to kiss you. Who said he was the entertainment industry's poison? Obviously. The woman in front of him also carried traces of poison that was unknowingly addictive. Downstairs, Han Yufan was still standing in the same spot. While upstairs in the restaurant, Tang Ning and Mo Ting were enjoying their meal. Tang Ning didn't like speaking to Mo Ting about her work, and he understood. After helping Tang Ning twice, he saw her handle things smoothly this time, on her own dot. This little woman sure isn't weak. However, even though she wasn't weak, she was still Mo Ting's wife. As long as she was his wife, He would make sure she would be doing the bullying and not the other way around. In a flash, 1 hour had passed. Downstairs, Han Yufan continued to wait, even though he was getting impatient. During this time, he continuously tried to call Tang Ning, but Tang Ning had already turned off all notifications. Unknown to him at this moment, in the eyes of Tang Ning and Mo Ting, he was like a gatekeeper standing guard under the tree. Finally, the two finished their meal. Mo Ting took a glimpse downstairs and asked, "Do you want to continue watching?" "No, I want you to help me move houses." Mo Ting nodded and quickly paid the bill, then escorted Tang Ning out through the side door. Not long after, the couple arrived at Tang Ning's home. However, as Mo Ting was about to enter, Tang Ning requested for him to wait outside for 5 minutes. 5 minutes later, as he entered the house, all traces of Tang Ning and Han Yufan's relationship were gone. Tang Ning didn't have to remove much, as Han Yufan never stayed over anyway. "Mo Ting, wait a moment, I'm going to pack a few things." Mo Ting examined Tang Ning's house. He found a huge photo in the living room. It was a photo of Tang Ning receiving her trophy for the #1 model. If she had never retreated from the industry, she would have already gone international. 5 minutes later, Tang Ning reappeared from her bedroom holding a teddy bear in her arms. "This is all of my possessions. You don't want anything else?" "No, let's leave the memories behind." Tang Ning shook her head in certainty. Suddenly, Mo Ting pulled her over to him and pressed down onto her with his cold lips. At first, Tang Ning was surprised, but not long after, she closed her eyes and returned his kiss. It was not until Mo Ting's hands uncontrollably reached under her skirt did the two suddenly stop. "Let's leave the rest for when we get home, but for now, has my kiss made your memories better?" Tang Ning wrapped her arms around Mo Ting. She could feel his calm breaths. From now on, she wasn't going to let anyone hurt her again. She was going to keep what belonged to her tightly in the palm of her hands. Back at the cherry blossom tree, Han Yufan had been waiting for 4 hours. He originally intended to keep waiting, but then he received a phone call from Mo Yuru. "Yufan, where are you? I am at your home. I can't find you. My stomach is in pain. Yufan, why haven't the photos been removed yet? I'm afraid I will be destroyed like this." Han Yufan woke up in an instant and quickly rushed home. Seeing Mo Yuru standing pitifully on one foot outside his door, he couldn't help but run up to her. "I won't let you be destroyed, and I won't let Tianyi be destroyed. Yufan, I only have you. Don't leave me and the baby." Han Yufan comforted Mo Yuru, patting her gently on her back. That night, he forced his staff to release a statement that there were others there at the time. The truth was that Mo Yuru lost her footing because of her injured right leg and accidentally fell into the arms of Han Yufan, with both of them landing on the bed. It's not like how it appeared in the photos. They weren't kissing on the bed. Most importantly, at a time like this, Han Yufan still wanted to sacrifice Tang Ning by hinting someone was behind all of this and telling the public not to be fooled. Chapter 11. Cure Hatred. After Han Yufan's PR news was posted up, he paid out a few influential social accounts to help them clean their reputation. In the next 3 days, he used every method he could to clean up Mo Yuru's professionalism and image. Again, his intention was to continue throwing the blame on Tang Ning. After all, gossip like this usually only lasted a few days before the public became bored. Once new news gets released, this little scandal would just disappear into the depths of everyone's memories. It wouldn't be long before Mo Yuru would be able to return to work. Their plan was to help Mo Yuru win the top 10 model awards, and then announce she would be going overseas to study. At that time, she could sneakily give birth to their child. The only reason Han Yufan was willing to accept the child was because Mo Yuru was his first love, and she had stayed by his side patiently for many years. On top of everything, Mo Yuru currently had a promising future, so he wasn't going to give up on this money tree. Tang Ning's manager had an expression of irony as she looked at the PR news Han Yufan had released. She sneaked over to Tang Ning's home and let herself in since she had the keys. But to her surprise, Tang Ning wasn't home. So out of uncertainty, she decided to give Tang Ning a call. "Tang Ning, why aren't you home?" Tang Ning was in the middle of filling up a bathtub for Mo Ting. She let out a chuckle. "I haven't had the chance to tell you. I moved houses." "Where did you move to? Is it safe? Does Han Yufan know?" Tang Ning turned around and looked at Mo Ting, who had just entered the bathroom. Just as she was about to explain, she was interrupted by Mo Ting, who didn't realize she was on the phone. "Stuff like this, you should have left it to the maid." On the other side of the line, Longzhe listened attentively. She heard the voice of a man and immediately asked in a high-pitched voice, "Tang Ning, who are you with? In order to upset Han Yufan, have you used extreme measures?" I knew it. Who would give a helping hand to a retreated model during this time of chaos? "You. You're really frustrating me. Is someone supporting you?" "Where are you? I'll come get you. You don't need to stoop so low. Where are you? I want to see you right now or else I'll die." Tang Ning didn't know what to do. She looked over at Mo Ting as she covered the mouthpiece on her phone and asked for his opinion. "My manager seems to have a misunderstanding regarding my moving houses. So, I need to pop out for a little to explain to her." "Do you trust her?" In actual fact, Mo Ting had already investigated Longzhe in private. She was passionate and professional, even though she was often simple-minded and far from being a top manager. But she was loyal to Tang Ning and was a helpful person to have around. Then let me immediately go pick her up." Tang Ning thought about it carefully. She understood what Mo Ting meant and trusted his judgment. She was no longer the Tang Ning from the past that would allow others to play games right before her eyes. So, she told Longzhe she would be sending someone over to pick her up from her old house. Longzhe sighed, giving off a sense of disappointment. Tang Ning smiled as she hung up. She put down the phone and turned to Mo Ting. "I've filled the bath. Are you going to bathe yourself now?" Mo Ting raised an eyebrow as he rebuttoned his shirt, covering up his attractive collarbone. "We have a guest. The man of the house must be present. Most importantly, I want to bathe. With you." Tang Ning blushed, but nodded shyly. Longzhe was extremely frustrated. She felt it wasn't worth it for Tang Ning to give up so much for Han Yufan. She especially couldn't believe that Tang Ning had willingly thrown herself at a man when there was obviously no true love in the entertainment industry. Most people in the industry just wanted one night of fun. The next day they would pretend they don't know each other. How can she be so silly to take part in something like this? Longzhe was fuming as she walked back and forth, cursing under her breath, until Lu Che arrived at the house and saw Longzhe. "If you want to see Miss Tang, come with me." Longzhe was familiar with Mo Ting, however. She didn't recognize Lu Che at all, so she wasn't very friendly towards him. She lifted her leg and gave him a kick. "If anything happens to my precious Tang Ning, I will paralyze both you and your boss." Lu Che held his tidy hairstyle in place. The sudden kick made it hard for him to keep his image as his face screwed up in pain. "Let's not talk about who's going to paralyze who. Come with me first." Longzhe gave a humph, raised her head and glared at Lu Che as she boarded the car with him. Throughout the entire journey, Longzhe tried to test Lu Che by threatening him with all different methods, even mentioning Tang Ning's family background. All that was missing was a knife to his neck. Finally, as the car pulled up into the estate, Longzhe finally grew silent in shock. Hyatt Regency. This was one of the landmarks of the city of Beijing. This estate only housed 30 households. Each household was rich and powerful. Just simply searching up the background of any random house in this area would make the average person speechless. Who the hell is your boss?" Longzhe felt weak at her knees. "You will find out once you go inside," Lu Che replied in an annoyed tone. He too had a bit of a temper. Longzhe's heart nearly jumped out of her chest in fear as the fire inside her subsided. Whoever was inside was definitely not someone she would dare mess with. Not long after, the car swerved in through a metal gate that surrounded a beautiful villa with a fountain out front. Longjie was escorted out of the car and into a Spanish palace-style living room. Tang Ning was sitting on the sofa wearing comfortable white home clothes. She didn't have any makeup on, but she was just as beautiful as ever. Tang Ning, what is all this? Did you find yourself a rich old man? Longjie asked in a hushed whisper as she approached Tang Ning. Did you sacrifice yourself for the sake of Han Yufan? Longjie, there's something I need to tell you, but you can't be upset. Tang Ning pulled Longjie onto the sofa next to her. Speak. Did you find a new boyfriend? No. Tang Ning shook her head, holding back a smile. That's good. I'm married, Longjie. After a couple of minutes, she suddenly burst out. What did you say? You're married? Who did you marry? Why would you play games with your happiness? While Longjie was questioning Tang Ning, Mo Ting had just finished dealing with some business issues and appeared out of the study room upstairs. To Longjie's surprise, he walked over to just behind the sofa, leaned over affectionately, and whispered gently into Tang Ning's ear. Tang Ning turned to face Mo Ting and nodded obediently. I know. I won't take longer than half an hour. Mo Ting was pleased with her response. He observed Longjie for a moment and headed back upstairs. Everything that happened in this short moment was enough to make Longjie freeze in disbelief. Tang Ning, quick, pinch me. I want to know if I'm dreaming. Why? Tang Ning tugged at her to bring her back to her senses. So the person you married is the CEO of Hairui Entertainment, Mo Ting? Uh-huh. For real? Longjie asked again to confirm. You're not seeing things, it's him, my new husband. Tang Ning nodded seriously. After hearing her answer, Longjie went from extreme sadness to extreme happiness. No wonder your article stayed at the top of search rankings, and Han Yufan had no way of removing it no matter how much money he spent. Tang Ning, this is such a great surprise. You've made the right decision. If you're going to get married, it definitely can't be with trash like Han Yufan. I just never thought you would actually marry the CEO of Hairui Entertainment. Hairui is on a whole new level than Tianyi. So refreshing. This completely cures my hatred. If Han Yufan was to find out, how satisfying would that be? Chapter 12. Securing a spokesperson deal. But I do not have plans to announce my relationship with Mo Ting as of yet, Tang Ning explained calmly. She gave off a confident and dazzling aura. With the help of Mo Ting, I know my career would advance in leaps and bounds, but other people would only acknowledge me as Mo Ting's wife and not Tang Ning the model. 3 years ago, I managed to become the top model in Beijing. Now 3 years later, I am confident I can do it again with my own ability. I will retrieve what originally belongs to me. Longjie, if you are still willing to help me, then we are going into this together. If you don't want to, I won't pressure you. I will help you cancel your contract with Tianyi and help you find a job at a better company. What nonsense are you speaking? Of course I want to stay by your side. I want to become the top manager of an international supermodel, Longjie replied confidently. But are you planning to stay at Tianyi Entertainment? What do you think? Tang Ning gave Longjie a look, letting her figure the answer herself. Han Yufan has used me so many times. No matter what, I will pay him back for it. After hearing what Tang Ning had to say, Longjie burst out laughing as she leaned on Tang Ning, her shoulders shaking from laughter. Tang Ning, I realized all these years I have known you has been a waste. I never knew you could be so sneaky. So what's the next move? What should we do? Release the video? No. Let's secure a spokesperson deal. To be precise, let's take what originally belonged to me right out of Mo Yuru's hands. Afterwards, Mo Yuru's fans will definitely complain. The video should be released at that time. Longjie, you will need to work hard for a little longer. Help me edit the clips from the Crown Star show and post it online. Okay, no worries. Leave it with me. After hearing the plan, Longjie's eyes lit up as she nodded her head. Most importantly, she had discovered Tang Ning was different. She used to be weak and fragile, but who would have thought, when triggered, she would be this powerful. After their conversation, Tang Ning asked Lu Che to escort Longzhe home before she got up from the sofa and headed back into the beautifully scented bedroom. Mo Ting had just changed into a robe and was sitting on the sofa enjoying a glass of red wine. His chin tilted up, giving him a more defined jawline like a perfectly carved sculpture, making one's heart flutter. Tang Ning was nervous, but still walked over to sit beside Mo Ting. Mo Ting continued sipping from his glass, when suddenly, he reached over and grabbed onto her shoulder as he placed his lips against hers. He still had the wine in his mouth as he shared the aromatic flavor with Tang Ning. Tang Ning was caught off guard as her face flushed red. Mo Ting laughed gently as he kissed her on the tip of her nose. If you can't drink, you will be at a disadvantage when invited to events. You need to train. Tang Ning pushed her body against Mo Ting's smooth chest. In that case, President Mo, what do you propose? Drink a small glass every day. What do you say? Using the same method as just then? Tang Ning raised her eyebrows with a slightly provocative look. Mo Ting couldn't help but let out a gentle laugh as he nodded. Did you like it? Uh-huh, Tang Ning nodded. Let's do that then. After he spoke, Mo Ting once again raised the glass to his lips. Using the same method, he once again leaned over, but this time. After they had finished drinking the wine, they did not separate. They continued to kiss passionately as they treated the sofa beneath them like a bed. As Mo Ting's intermittent kisses slowly made its way to other parts of her body, Tang Ning could feel her body shaking. She could no longer think straight. Never had she experienced such an electrifying feeling, making her whole body weak like sand. In the heat of the moment, all she could see was Mo Ting's handsome nose bridge and his soft lips. But she could feel his strong arms and, Mo, Ting, let's go to the bed. I don't want to do it. On the sofa. Hearing her plea, Mo Ting suddenly stopped. Looking down at her long, slender legs, so beautiful like the tail of a mermaid, he held in his desires as he wrapped Tang Ning in a bathrobe. He lifted her up and took her into the bathroom, placing her gently into the bathtub. What is it? Mo Ting wrapped a towel around his body and kneeled before Tang Ning. He lifted her chin and spoke. I want your heart first. When I am the only person in your heart, I will make you completely mine. After he finished speaking, Mo Ting stood up, but Tang Ning reached out her hand to grab hold of his towel. I do not dislike us doing this. Do you still not trust me? Mo Ting patted Tang Ning gently on the head, calming himself down at the same time. I really want you. You don't know how attractive you are, but I want all of you, body and heart. I want to wait for you to be certain. Tang Ning nodded, holding onto Mo Ting's left hand. It's been a long time since someone has treated me with respect. Mo Ting understood what she meant. Even though he wanted to crush Han Yufan into pieces, Mo Ting had faith. Tang Ning would be able to depend on her own abilities to get what she wants. The next morning, the scandal between Tianyi's two models had already been replaced by the new headlines of the day, while at the same time, Han Yufan and Mo Yuru's rumors had been covered up by Tianyi's PR. The hype of entertainment news had always dissipated as quickly as it appeared. However, due to Tang Ning's responsible attitude of standing out and taking on all blame, she had gained herself a huge number of new fans. These fans were now searching online for Tang Ning's old appearances and photos. No one noticed Tang Ning at this moment was slowly making a comeback. Especially during the Crown Star Show, Tang Ning's performance had definitely surpassed all the current hottest models. Her new fans felt it was unfair for Tang Ning to go to waste, so they all started sharing her videos online while contacting HF. After seeing the videos of Tang Ning, HF was amazed by Tang Ning's beauty. In particular, after seeing Tang Ning's multitude of photos and poses, the designer that had got angry at Tang Ning on the day of the show suddenly realized how well Tang Ning matched his jewelry. It was like they were made for each other. HF's designer pondered for a little bit. His judgment was previously affected by Tianyi's lies. But now that he had time to calm down and think about it, Tang Ning's elegance and professionalism was definitely better suited to the theme of the crown star. Also, because of Tang Ning's attitude towards admitting wrong, HF had developed a sense of trust towards her. So, the higher-ups of HF quickly gathered together for a meeting to discuss swapping the spokesperson. In the end, they came to a consensus. A phone call was made to the office of the president of Tianyi Entertainment. Mr. Eugene, Yuru is almost recovered from her injuries. The release of your new product definitely won't be delayed. No, I'm not calling about that. Mr. Han Yufan, we would like to swap spokesperson. We would like to swap Mo Yuru for Tang Ning, he said in perfect English. After hearing the request, Han Yufan didn't know how to react. No, Mr. Eugene, I don't think that's right. We haven't officially signed the contract yet. If you are not willing to swap for Tang Ning, we'd rather cancel this collaboration and look for another company to work with. We have other models, ones that are more famous than Mo Yuru. We only want Tang Ning. Mr. Eugene was set on his decision, leaving Han Yufan with no choice but to agree. However, this deal was originally Mo Yuru's means of securing the top 10 model awards. Who would have thought Tang Ning would end up benefiting instead? With this change, Mo Yuru was definitely going to throw a tantrum. The news quickly spread to Longjie. HF had made a call to Han Yufan's office requesting to swap spokesperson. So when she spoke to Tang Ning on the phone, she was exceptionally excited. Tang Ning, you got the deal. Don't get ahead of yourself. Mo Yuru isn't going to let this happen so easily. Tang Ning didn't let her guard down, even though she had the situation in the palm of her hands.